Anypoint platform gateway, Flex gateway, integration use cases. Here you can see integration use cases in Flex gateway, in Anypoint platform gateway. The following integration use cases are determined by the ownership of the API provider and API consumer. Each use case shows physical patterns that demonstrate the necessary services in the system. For the following use case diagrams, Flex Gateway is running in the connected mode. However, you can also run Flex Gateway in a local mode or use combination of connected mode and local mode for separate runtimes in the same or different environments. The use case diagrams use Kubernetes terminology, but you can extend the architecture to other terminology stacks that have the appropriate network controls applied. Flex Gateway supports the 4 use cases. Use case 1, organization owned API exposed to an organization owned API consumer. Use case 2, organization owned API exposed to non-organization owned API consumer. Use case 3, non-organization owned API exposed to an organization owned API consumer. Use case 4, non-organization owned API exposed to a non-organization owned consumer. Each use case supports different integration patterns that vary depending on the location of API related to the network in which the Flex Gateway is located. You can use the different use case patterns depending on the different API owners and the network in your system. In each use case, there are 3 different classifications of networks. Classification describe the relation of each network to your organization and network that Flex Gateway is in. Organization internal networks owned by your organization and network owned by your organization and in the same network as a Flex Gateway. Organization external, trusted networks external to your organization but in a different network than Flex Gateway. For example, your organization's Splunk instance. Non-organization external network untrusted by your company and in a network as a Flex Gateway. An API provider or API consumer's network status affect the necessary security protocols, MTLS, you can take when communicating between networks. If an API provider or API consumer is organization owned, it belongs to either the organization internal network or its external networks. The following use case 1, organization owned API exposed to an organization owned API consumer. Use case 1, the organization owned API exposed to an organization owned API consumer. Pattern 1A, organization internal API exposed to an organization internal consumer that uses the same VPC or network as an API. Role of the Flex Gateway is ingress. Pattern 1B, organization internal API exposed to an organization internal consumer that uses different VPC or network API. Role of the Flex Gateway is ingress. Pattern 2, organization internal API exposed to an organization external consumer. Role of the Flex Gateway is ingress. Pattern 3, organization pattern 3 organization external pattern 2 organization internal API exposes to an organization external consumer. Role of the flex gateway ingress. Pattern 3 organization external API exposed to an organization internal consumer. Role of the flex gateway egress. Pattern 4 organization external API exposed to an organizational external consumer. Role of the flex gateway is ingress and egress. Use case 2 organization owned API exposed to an non-organization owned API consumer. Pattern 5 organization internal API exposed to an non-organization external consumer. Role of the flex gateway ingress. Pattern 6 organizational external API exposed to organization to an non-organization external consumer. Role of the flex gateway ingress and egress. Use case 3 non-organization owned API exposed to an organization owned API consumer. Pattern 7 non-organization external API exposed to an organization internal consumer. Pattern 8 non-organization external API exposed to an organization external consumer. Role of the flex gateway is ingress and egress. Use case 4 non-organization owned API exposed to an external non-organization owned API consumer. Non-organization external API exposed to a non-organization external consumer. Here you can see providers, and here you can see organization owned, and here non-organization owned. Here you can see providers and consumers. Systems of record is connected to stream processing. Stream processing is connected to systems of engagement and systems of insight and systems of engagement insight. And AI or machine learning is connected to systems of engagement and systems of insight. The providers is connected to use case 1 org owned API exposed to org owned API consumer, and it is connected to consumers in organization owned. And here the providers, organization owned providers is connected to use case 2 org owned API exposed to non-org owned API consumer, and it is connected to non-org consumers in non-org organization owned. And here the in consumers in organization owned, you can see the mobile, web, client apps, telephony, chatbot. Here you can see providers in non-organization owned, third party, social, IoT, SaaS, B2B ED, B2B EDI, or SFTP, and providers are connected to use case 3 here. The non-org owned API exposes to org owned consumer, and it is connected to consumers in organization owned. And here the providers in non-organization owned is connected to use case 4 non-org owned API exposed to non-org owned API consumer, and it is connected to non-org owned consumers in non-org owned. And here you can see the use case 1, use case 2, use case 3, use case 4, and use case 4 are in API platform here. Now this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for watching it.